When a friend of mine was only 10 years old, she had a substitute teacher. And this teacher would teach her students about anything. But at one point, she taught them about the universe. And eventually, she stated, and stick with me now because this is very stupid, she stated that the sun revolves around the earth. And now these children were old enough to have seen National Geographic, so they knew it wasn't true. And they told her. But she wouldn't believe them. And why should she? I mean, she's an adult, she's had more life experience, and these children have barely seen anything but their own neighborhoods. And she does have a point. She does have more knowledge. But by assuming that the children could never be right just because they are children, she shows that she's not very wise. And why? Because there's a big difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is bits and pieces of information that you gather throughout your life, which you then store in the back of your mind as knowledge. But wisdom is knowing that you don't know everything, and using the knowledge you do have to create new knowledge, and questioning when somebody tells you something, not blindly accepting that as the truth, but wondering, is this even a reliable source? And what this person is telling me, does that even sound logical to me? Thinking for yourself, that is wisdom. And adults tend to get tangled up in all the knowledge they gather. And they assume things are the truth because they've always been that way. But young people aren't like that. Young people only have bits and pieces of knowledge. And to complete the puzzle, they need the rest. So they will question everything. In fact, the younger people are, the wiser they tend to be. If you follow the line of age down until you end up with a 5-year-old, you'll see that, and parents, you're going to recognize this, you'll see that a 5-year-old will never accept an answer. They just keep on asking, and it makes them so very annoying, but it also makes them very wise. And you can follow that line even further until you end up with one of the wisest creatures on this planet, according to me. A human baby. And now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that a baby is wiser than a professor, because we know that isn't really true. But what a baby does have is the potential of knowing so much more than any adult ever could. Because a baby is like a blank piece of paper, and anything can still be written on him. So this child will enter the world open-minded, and he will gather his knowledge, and he will implement it in its own unique way, thus creating new ideas and perhaps even new inventions that will help humanity make progress. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, this child will also grow up to be an adult. And he too will get tangled up in all the knowledge he gathers. And eventually, the child that once learned will become a teacher. So what could I teach my teacher? I could teach him to listen to young people. Because even though we might not know as much, we question, so we could be onto something. And I could teach him to think for himself, not blindly accept things as the truth, but wonder, are they really now? Because even the best teacher can be taught to question. So adults, don't worry. Just because you're adults does not mean that you cannot be wise. I have proof of this. Because when my aunt was only 10 years old, my grandfather would walk up to her room every single night to read her a bedtime story. But one night, as he walked up those stairs, he got too exhausted to even read the book's pages out loud. And my aunt asked, "Daddy, why are you breathing so heavily?" And he said, "I think it's because of the cigarettes." He was a smoker. And she asked, "Then why do you still smoke cigarettes? Isn't that stupid?" And he knew that she was right. He accepted that the little girl was right and he, the adult, was wrong. And he quit smoking that very day. And he showed us that he is very wise. And every single one of you could be exactly the same. But it's not enough to know that you could be wise. Actually be wise. Start questioning today. Because you never know what you might find out. And I thank you for your attention.